Hi, this is Dan Cortopassi of TSG Multimedia, and today I'm reviewing an HO scale Southern Pacific M9 Class 260 Mogul by Sunset Models. This is a brass engine that was factory painted, and it's equipped with QSI sound. These aren't in production anymore to my knowledge, but they originally had an MSRP of $699. The paint on the model is overall very good. The black does look a little bit thick in places, but it's within the limits of acceptability. All of the lettering is very crisp and legible. I like the red highlights on some of the plumbing. Overall, I think the model captures the lines of a Southern Pacific 260 fairly well. I've only been able to find one photo of the real 1815 so far, and the detail on the engineer's side doesn't quite match the photo. However, considering that steam engines sometimes changed appearance over time, I can't really say for certain if the model is accurate or not. The model has excellent front-end detail. There's no provision for a working coupler. There's a dummy coupler installed on the Pilot, so if you want to put a working coupler, it would take a little bit of work to fit one. The model is equipped with a working headlight and backup light. The marker lights are not functional. The tender also is very nicely detailed. I did notice that the number on the tender is printed off to one side, where it really should be centered. Also, the backup light on the tender says 1809 instead of 1815. The hatch detail on the tender is very nicely done. The model has a drawbar that connects it to the tender and a 6-pin connector for the electrical connections. The cab interior is very nicely done with full backhead detail. The model has brake detail on the underside of the tender and also brake detail on the locomotive. The center driver is powered, and all of the drivers are sprung. The tender also is pre-perforated for sound, as might be expected when a sound-equipped model. All of the wheels were engaged according to the NMR standards gauge. The locomotive without the tender weighs 10.9 ounces. Using my force gauge, I registered a pulling power of 1.5 ounces. The locomotive is very quiet with the sound off. Operation is pretty smooth. Might have just a slight bind in it, but it's pretty minor. The whistle can do both long and short toots depending on how long you hold the key down. I should point out that I haven't done any programming with this at all so far, so this is just the default settings from the factory. This is running on DCC, by the way. I did test the model on a 24-inch radius curve, and everything worked okay except the lead truck derailed, and I think that could be fixed with just a little bit of fiddling with the lead truck so that it swivels more easily from side to side. Overall, I think this is a pretty nice model. I am going to take off the spike for the number on the rear of the tender being off-center and for the number on the light on the tender being incorrect. Also, the binding in the mechanism is a little bit of a concern. It seems to me that it runs actually a little better with the sound turned off. I'm not sure why that is, but in any event, I'm going to take off another spike for that because a bind in a steam engine mechanism can potentially be a thing that's hard to fix. So my final verdict on this one is 8 out of 10 spikes. If you or your company make a product that you'd like us to review, please drop us a line at reviews@tsgmultimedia.com.